Hello, grandkids. Glad you can make it. My name is Nyla, your resident grandkid host, and welcome to the Grandpod. This is episode 10 of the podcast overall, but if you're keeping track of the seasons, this is episode 3 of season 2. So if you feel like going back to season 1, or maybe you want to skip it, just look at what's going on in season 2, because we're doing things bigger, we're doing things better, we're having different kinds of things going on. It's going to be great. Then you can go ahead and do that. Whichever makes you feel great, as long as you're here. I'm glad to have you. And then, yeah, I just wanted to mention before we get things started, before you obviously see who the guest is here. So we're gonna get into that. But before I do that, just want to say season 2, like I said before, we're doing things bigger, we're doing things better. We're gonna have more going on, okay? I may have less time to do them, but baby, the time that I do have, I'm dedicating to you guys. So without further ado, there's an elephant in the room. And I don't know how to address it properly because we have the most special guest that we have had thus far. Not that the grandkids aren't special, but this one's built a little bit different. Guest, would you like to chime in a little bit? What's going on?
There is a moth in the room. I was somehow gonna try to make an elephant-shaped moth joke. Didn't figure it out. But
It's okay.
Hi, I'm Mothica.
That's Mothica. I don't know which way you're gonna be, so I'm gonna be like, that's Mothica. Yeah, Mothica's on the podcast. So instead of the grandpod, from here on out, it's the MOTHPOD.
For this
Welcome.
Episode.
For this
only.
episode, it's the MOTHPOD. If you don't know who Mothica is, why? You already have grandson in your rotation. Let's get some Mothica in there, okay? How would you best describe your music to people who haven't already listened to you?
Ooh. I usually I play on the safe side. I say dark pop, alt pop, anything else. Because I play with a lot of different genres, but at the heart, I try to make pop songs, but there's some darker sounds, a little bit of rock, and some of the newer stuff. So yeah, dark pop.
Dark pop. That's good. That's great. Love that. Yeah, so if you're into dark pop, if you like pop music that has a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like kind of darker imagery, especially in the newer Project Nocturnal, but even going like further back, it still keeps that theme, that aesthetic, then listen to Mothica, duh.
What would you call grandson's genre?
Oh my gosh, I love whenever I have to answer this question because I have my XX tat.
Yes.
People are always like, excuse me, what does your tattoo mean? Or I'll get like weirdos like at work and they'll be like, you're missing an X. And it's like, shut up. I'm trying to work, Lamel. Yeah. I just have a tattoo. But I'm always like, he makes socio-political alt rock.
Ooh.
That's the term awesome. That I go with. Sometimes if they seem a bit music savvy, then I get a little more specific and I go with socio-political electronic trap infused alt rock.
I was gonna say I just listened to the new single on Friday. So good, Something to Hide.
Oh yeah.
And it's definitely like rocktronic. I don't know if that's a genre, but it's like electronic with drops.
That should be the name. That should be it. Rocktronic is actually like really sick. That's sick.
It's a playlist on Spotify, so I didn't invent that, but
okay. Well, I'm still gonna give all of the credit to you because I didn't see it. So, yes. No, yeah, that's a great way to do it. I just do like electronic and trap infused alt rock, with socio-political themes. And people are like, that's ooh, awesome. I'm gonna listen to that. No, they never do. But I'm sure I made a grandkid somehow. After almost 5 years
of explaining that tattoo.
No, of just being a fan.
Oh yeah.
Especially when I first started, I would advertise him like it was my job. Like I'd get into an Uber and I'd be like, have you ever listened to like it'd be like I was like a Mormon or something, like going door to door. Like, have you heard about grandson? Like it was wild. I'm calling down.
You have a grandson? You look really young to have a grandson. Wow.
Somebody tweeted that at me earlier this year. Apparently they were just new to my account and I was talking about the grandkids and they were like, you have grandkids? And I said, "Oh, you must be new here." Like,
Oh
but
my gosh.
yeah, that's a thing. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
thank you for coming on the podcast. I'm like super. This is so cool. I'm
Thanks for
super
having me. I
appreciative.
love your podcast voice.
Thank you. Thank you. And I also, this is a little fun fact. The grandkids slightly know me for my grandson impression. I have a fairly decent one,
Whoa.
and I accidentally slip into his inflection sometimes. So in that thank you, that was him. I felt it, and I hear it sometimes, and
Ooh.
I'm like, ooh. And I'll be at work, and I'll be like, thank you, and that's how he says thank you. It's very drawn out. There's a certain like inflection, and I slip into it. So if I slip into his inflection, you'll probably hear it. And it's
Okay,
really
I thought you
funny.
were about to bust into a
Oh, I
song.
can. I
Oh,
can. I did
I want
one.
to hear
Do you
that.
remember when like Spotify announced that if you like had a certain amount of listens for an artist, there were certain artists that were gonna have like videos? I
Yes.
made a fake one for it, and I think I still have it memorized. It was pretty much like what's up, guys? Jordan here, grandson. And that means that you, one of the grandkids, are one of my top listeners, baby. Let's go. I appreciate you. I appreciate your appreciation for this movement and this music and this community. And I'll
Oof.
see you real soon. I'll see you real soon.
I
But
was just
yeah.
transported. I was just transported.
I feel bad. My friends hear it all the time. I'll just slip into it and I'll just be doing an impression
You
of him.
know, I haven't had anyone do an impression of me, but I just saw a really funny one on TikTok about Phoebe Bridgers and how she has a really
Ooh.
raspy voice and then she
Hmm.
sings very soft. And like I'm the same way. And I was like, oh Lord, I don't want to be called out eventually. Cause then every time it's funny when I'm recording because I'll just be singing like falsetto, like whispery, and then I'm like, fuck. And it's like and then I'm like, okay, these I don't know. My true music self is just a little dainty fairy, and then I'm a goblin. So I don't know what's up with
Real.
that.
Oh, real. I completely understand. That makes sense. And you know what? It's cool to be like that. Okay, give a
Yeah,
little diversity. Okay,
I
never.
have, yeah, a lot of voices. I've done some voiceover acting too, so I've like I
Ooh,
can slip into my little radio voice, and I'm like, what is my who am I? You know?
real. Oh yeah. I 100% get it. When I first started the podcast, people were like, "You have such a good voice for podcasts," and I was like, "No, but I know how to do a
Yes, you do.
podcast voice." Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. But okay, so now we're gonna head into the icebreaker question, and this is the fun part where I essentially asked the guest a quirky little question that I probably thought
Okay.
of in a cold sweat in the middle of the night, and that way we can kind of break the ice a little bit, kind of chill things out until we get into like the real format of everything. So, without further ado, without further ado, let's get into it. Are you ready for the icebreaker question?
The ice must be broken.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the lore for this question because this is grandkid lore. So a while ago on the podcast, I had a different guest that was Saul. And on that podcast, I asked a very cute little question. It was the is cereal a soup question, right? And that's not the question we're going into. No, it gets deeper than that. Um, so we were discussing that, and I made an offhand comment, and I said I don't think cereal is a soup, but I thoroughly believe that tea is a soup.
Whoa.
And everyone lost their minds. It was like a collective, what are you talking about moment? And there was just one person that pointed it out. They listened to the podcast and they were like, hey, Nyla, what are you talking? Tea is not a soup. And I responded, um, I will die on this hill. Tea is a soup. And that everybody came flooding in. But I tell you, we were arguing online, like everybody collectively was either arguing for or against tea being a soup in the grandkids for like 2 weeks straight. It it was I became a martyr for the tea
Wow.
is soup cause. It
I
was,
I I have to say I don't think you probably had that many tea soup tea as soup defenders.
oh no,
There's
au
many of you?
contraire. Au contraire. While the majority was against me,
Yeah.
after I presented my argument, people started to be converted. And there were
Mm.
even people who in secret would kind of DM me like, hey, tea is a soup, but I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not saying it out loud. And I'm like, that is fine. As long as you in your heart know tea is a soup, I am okay with it. So, Mothica, I am
Wow.
asking you today on this podcast, is tea a soup? Now,
You know, I haven't
now,
been converted,
I
but
can do it. I can present some points.
is it because it's leaves? It's
No.
a bit okay.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
I want you to think about how is soup made? How do you make soup?
You you put vegetables in hot water.
Hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
that is soup with
So,
salt.
so how is that much different than the creation of tea, right? Because tea can either be made using leaves or like the little packets, but that's not tea. But then there's like it's essentially a combination of leaves and herbs in order to make your tea.
Well, but you're steeping it. You're not eating the leaves. So I would say that tea is a broth.
Ah, ha ha ha. That is the loophole that many have gotten into. And what's fun is you technically still agree with me. And here's why. All of the grandkids are going to be so mad when they listen to this. They're like, Nyla, please, this was in September. We need to drop this. But no, no. If you agree that tea is a broth, then you also agree that tea is a soup. Because, and in my research for this, which I actually did research, there are different types of soup, right? And the main soup that people think of are like chunky soups that have stuff
Yes.
in it, like vegetables or like noodles or like meat for people who eat meat. Like that's the basic soup that people think of, right? But there's different types of soups, and chunky is one of them. There's also like chowders, which is in its own category, but there is a specific category of soup called clear soup. It's thin soup or clear
Oh.
soup. And what thin or clear soup is soup that doesn't have anything else in it but the liquid portion of it. That is a specific section of soup. It's a subsection of soup. And I'm not making this up. You could do the research. Thin soup
Oh,
is a
I'm
thing.
Googling. I'm actively Googling.
Thin soup is a thing. And Japanese clear soup is a specific type of soup that is a specific thin soup that is just essentially a broth. And when broths are served alone, they are also referred to as soups. As
Wow.
someone, yeah,
There's
in the
there's a lot of articles about this.
so
I'm even seeing an animated video called Is Tea Soup? You know,
there's there's the discussion. So that's where I stand.
I could be swayed. I'll say it's a broth, and
Okay,
if broth is a subset of soup, well, maybe it is.
and that's where I'll leave it. Now, now I'm gonna play devil's advocate against myself because that's fair, and the grandkids are probably yelling at their devices right now. A lot of people say that tea can't be a soup because it is a beverage. And
Mm,
that is where I say, why do we let these labels define us this way for
yes.
beverage and food? The line has already been skewed. It's mostly a liquid, anyways. Okay?
Yes.
It's so, why can't we make this a exception to the rule?
If tea wants to be soup, I support tea.
That's all I'm saying. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This was so important. And I felt like um because you're Mothica, like you're not just like our grandkids that we usually have on. I felt like including you into our lore a little bit would kind of help bring this bring this together.
Now,
So,
does Jordan know about the lore of the soup and the tea? Is he just checking in and
he's a part of it in the worst way. So what happened, and this was the worst day of my life up to that point. Um, Jordan does these things where he like randomly is like, ask me a question, or we're hanging out, say what's up. And I think this was in the height of the tea is soup debate. And someone just asked the question. They just asked is tea is soup, and he just straight up said no. And my Twitter mentions were blown up. Nyla, look at this. Look at this evidence. He said no. I was like, why is he this tea is soup ambassador now? Like he doesn't know the basis of what's going on. So I do plan on reeling him in, quite possibly in his episode of the podcast. But
oh wow. I
yeah,
can't wait to hear.
this is so important.
I think he could be converted.
I think so.
I mean,
too.
you're
Hopefully.
convincing. I will,
Thank you.
you know.
Yeah, around that time I was being compared to a cult leader a lot, and I was like,
I was gonna go there, but you know.
I was like, it's not a cult. It's not a cult leader. I'm just because I use the word converted does not mean it. You know, I'm spreading the gospel, but not in a culty way or a
I would
cult leader
say,
way.
yeah, tea is more soup than cereal is. People saying cereal is
Yes.
soup. That's just, you know,
That's false.
call it gazpacho, you know, at least it's cold, but yeah.
Gazpacho is another like subsection of soup, but that's a whole thing.
It's cold soup, right?
Yeah, there's like so many different ones. There's like different, and then I went really hard. Like I think I still have sources in my phone. Like I planned on making an essay at the height of it. I almost wrote a full like 12-page MLA format essay. I almost did it because I felt so strongly about it.
That's incredible. And you should do that.
I might. I'm trying to wait for elongated muskrat to get my Twitter count up so I can just type it on Twitter.
Oh, you can't do like longer tweets or something?
No.
Oh.
They haven't released it to the public, not the masses yet. Unfortunately. But the day that word count goes up, Tia Sue. Full
I'm ready
expose.
for it.
Thank you.
I'll retweet.
Yes. Get more people on my side. Mothlings come through.
Yes.
Come hither. Yeah. Okay. So now that we've gone through our question, the ice has been broken, melted, all that jazz. It's time for the interview section. And obviously, because the MOTHPOD is different than the grandpod, this interview section has like this, it has two different parts. So part one, essentially, we're going to dive into Mothica as an artist. We're going to ask artist-based questions, and then we're going to go into the stuff that's based off of grandson or whatever his name is. But we're going to start off with questions about Mothica, like what's Mothica doing?
Oh.
So to start everything off, let's just go back to the beginning. And I kind of hate when people say that in like podcasts or interviews, like, let's go back to the beginning where it all started. But like, I think that's the best place to start. Best place to start is the beginning. So, when did you start making music? Like, when did you actually like start?
I think I wrote my first song when I was like 14. And I was in my high school, they had a classical guitar class. So I got to learn guitar and could start to cover songs I liked and then would kind of write my own songs. Wow. So yeah, like probably maybe eighth grade and ninth grade. Yeah. Nice.
And then what do you think you can like pinpoint what kind of drew you to music in the first place? Like what was kind of like, oh, I really want to do that. Like that's a thing that I want to do instead of it just being something that you like practice or something.
I mean, I didn't know I wanted to be a musician then, or that wasn't even in my realm of possibility. And I just loved music and specifically like lyrics and, you know, feeling like hearing a song that like told me my life story or just being in your feels and crying to a song and
Real.
looking out the car window, you know?
Oh, real. Your
You
car
know
ate me
that
up too. Yes.
that feeling. And so I think that's why I started like writing songs myself. Um uh but yeah, and then I didn't even like, I mean, I grew up in Oklahoma, and yes, there were bands and stuff, but I, my capitalism told me, I gotta do something else, gotta be a designer, or work in tech, or like an architect. I didn't think, oh, you can like be a musician. Um, so that's kind of a learned experience once so it's a little different. I think most people are like 3 years old and like wanting to win a Grammy, and I
Oh,
can't relate.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. And then do you think like, the idea of like being able to like craft these lyrics and make these stories and have people to be able to like essentially to make people feel like songs did for you, is that the thing that like still drives you, or is there something new that's come in over this time of you having this career?
Oh, yeah, I think that like drives me more and more is that songs that like, I've gotten tattoos of songs I like, and to know how much a song has affected me, to like be on the other end and have someone have that experience with my song, I think that's really important. Um but it's funny, like a lot of the bands and stuff that I listen to, I never like tried to interact with them or like anything like that. Like they don't even know.
Real.
So, um, yeah. So I think that's inspired me. And then now as music has become more of like visual too. It's like an audio visual project. So I think what drives me now is I have ideas, and to be able to make the project look as good as it does in my head. That's all I want. And seems simple, but it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so that's
Okay.
definitely the goal is I have a story I want to tell, or an album I want to make, and it's in the fantasy stage of like, it's amazing, it's perfect, and then you like do it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I could do that better.
Yep.
And then you do something else.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And then, okay, tell us about your most recent releases, Nocturnal. Well, technically
Mhm.
Nocturnal Deluxe, but let's just go Nocturnal as a whole. Tell us about Nocturnal, like for the people who haven't like listened to it, taken in the visuals, the aesthetic. What was Nocturnal like in your head, like that fantasy stage, and then how did it actually come out for you?
Oh, you know, it was bigger. Mothman was a bigger part of my story. But yeah, nocturnal is just a word that had come up in every interview. I would talk about why I relate to moths, and I would say because they're nocturnal. And so it's just a word that stuck out. And then I kind of started like just digging down that rabbit hole of that like nighttime sleep. I have all these sleep issues, and it's inspiring because it's also like the time I'm awake at night. And so I was starting to make these kind of rockier sounds. And I had done this like Bring Me the Horizon cover, and people really liked that. And so that like kind of pushed me into like exploring that further. But yeah, I was just like watching, when I'm writing an album, I'm like reading books, I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm like watching movies, just anything that will like spark some sort of inspiration. So like the intro song, I covered Sleepwalk, and I heard that, I mean, I've heard it before, but uh when I was writing the album, I heard it in The Conjuring, and I just loved how the juxtaposition of this sweet 50s song in the horror movie. Um, so yeah, it was just like trying to do something. And Blue Hour, also my last album, was kind of like sunset, and so then it was like nocturnal. Now we're in nighttime, but we're not going to morning. That's not gonna be my next thing,
Oh,
because
okay, cool. That's super predictable.
yeah.
There's gonna be somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's gonna be somewhere else. Well, that's so nice. That's so nice to hear it from like a creative perspective. And then like from the perspective of like actually having fans, like you have the Mothlings, like how has it been to receive like this support from so many people over this time and to like watch your numbers slowly grow? Not that everything's a
Yeah.
numbers game, but like just to be able to see that, oh, people are actually connecting with my music and like this is getting bigger than just myself. Like how has that
Yeah.
been to like
I
see?
mean, yeah, it's only been since like 2020 is when
Mhm.
I really got more fans, and I had a lot of songs that like did well, but more like features, or like no one ever like followed me, the artist. And so
Mhm.
over the pandemic, like 2020, I was at my parents' house bored on TikTok. That's when like people started discovering me. And then and it's funny because now people come up and be like, "Oh, I'm an OG fan. I found you in 2020."
That's
I'm
so
like,
cute.
I'm like, "Oh, well, if you weren't there in 2015." No,
Mhm.
nobody was. But
Oh.
but no, it's cute. And then like that was just weird because it was all virtual. So I was doing like Zooms. I did like a Zoom party with a bunch of fans. There was a Zoom going on for like 2 weeks straight of just like from my release party, and then they just kept hanging out.
Oh, that's
And
so cute.
it was so cute. And then I was like live streaming all the time, and I kind of got burnt out on that. So now more I go in my Discord, I share some songs. I have the like urge to leak songs whenever I'm in there. So it's a
Fun,
dangerous.
fun.
um but yeah, and then when I did a tour opening for Coheed and Cambria, that's when I got to actually like meet more fans in real life, and
Hmm.
people would show up and have tattoos, or like, you know, and that's when it really felt like, oh, this isn't just through a screen, because you can put your phone down and then, Mackenzie again, like,
Hmm.
but to meet people in real life, that's when it really felt special, especially if they're like wearing something inspired by Nocturnal, or they do a little like
Hmm.
star makeup. um but yeah, it still doesn't feel like anything's changed really. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think different people receive it differently,
Yeah.
and your experience isn't any less than anyone else's. It's just yours. So,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Oh, and
And then,
actually,
ooh,
well, this is
fun.
probably a question you're gonna get to, but well, I think my first show out of the pandemic was when I opened for Grandson.
It was. I
Yeah.
actually know that.
Yeah.
That's an iconic day in grandkid history. I don't know if you know that, but the grandkids still talk about the Subterranean show. They still
No
mention the Sub
way.
T show. It's like we have these specific days that are like huge within the grandkids, whether you've been there or not, because I wasn't there, but I still know about it and I still hear about it all the time. That's like one of the most special days. And you
Oh.
were a part of that. And that's why this is also really, really
Is it
cool.
because there was so many, like the length of time without a show or something?
Yeah, it was that, but then it
Mm.
was also a combination of like the lineup. Um, I know a lot of the grandkids who went to that were also at least dabbling fans of you, like was dabbling with your music, and they were like the set list was so good for everyone. And then
Oh.
I know Ranson like pulled out some like songs that he hadn't played in like forever, like even before lockdown happened. They were like, "Oh my gosh!" And it was just this whole big thing. So
That's
it's still
awesome.
like super celebrated, and that's really, really dope. I think that a question I had? I think so. So yeah, we got that done, I think.
Yay.
Okay. Um, this is a question I just have from a perspective. I don't know if you know this, but I am an aspiring musician myself. I dabble, I
Oh,
make
awesome.
music, I produce stuff, I work. And then when you mentioned the thing about lyrics earlier, lyrics are like my favorite thing. So
Yes.
I completely understand that. I love crafting little stories and stuff like that. And I know for myself, I have some either lyrics or entire songs that I've made where I'm just like, I cannot believe that came from me. And I just
That's
want to know if
awesome.
you have any of those. Do you have any songs that are in your catalog that you're like, oh my gosh, I wrote like that? That's mine. Like I did that.
Well, once the song's out, I usually try to not listen to it.
Real.
But definitely when you're writing in a very like free flowing state and like
Mm-hmm.
lyrics will come to you that you're like completely, people always talk about they feel like they're channeling something,
Mm-hmm.
which I've never gotten that like woo woo about it, but like it does happen where you're like something will come out or this really like clever wordplay of just like, oh wow, am I a philosopher? Like like I love when that happens. But I think for me, I struggle because I'll have an idea for a song or like a concept, and then I will rewrite that same song like 3, 4, 5 times
Mm-hmm.
until I feel like I've encapsulated the concept.
Mm-hmm.
So it does feel sometimes like a little bit of a fight to get that out, but when
Mm-hmm.
it does happen naturally and you just like have that lyric that you're like, whoa, deep. That's really
Yeah.
special. But I'm trying to think if that's happened with any of my songs. I know Forever 15 was a special one. I like cried in my car after we wrote that one. It was very
Real.
therapeutic. Um, yeah, the energy was really just like, I'm gonna cry. That was the whole session.
Real.
Um, but yeah.
Okay.
What about you? Do you write lyrics or poetry first or
I it's really interesting. It's like it's changed over time because I've been writing since I think I was like 14, like you were. Um, and it's changed. I used to start with like a really cool line, like something I thought was just cool. And then I'd build upon it. Like I have this really old song. It's one of my oldest ones, and it was called Rain, but I think it's called When It Rains, It Pours now. It's gone through so many
nice?
revisions. And there's this whole bridge, the entire bridge that I made. It's the best part of the song, and I've dissected it so much. And it's the entire song is like that entire verse. It's a rap verse, and it has all of these like weather puns, and
Yes.
it's my favorite thing. One of my favorite lines because the whole song is about a relationship that you're like looking back on that didn't work. But every time it rains outside, you think of that person.
Mm.
And then there's a line, and it's like one of my favorite lines ever. I have a bunch of them, but this is one of my favorites in that like verse. There's and now our rain check is an infinite postpone. I love that line. I I love
Ooh.
that line so much. And then
Is
there's
that
also
out? I need to listen.
no, that one. Okay, so I've been, and I know the grandkids are tired of hearing this. I've been working on this 3-part EP for like 3 or 4 years now, and it's been stuck. But I finally have it to where it's like flowing again, and I have the entire first EP done. And
Wait,
unfortunately,
three EPs
it's
or
three
three songs?
EPs, it's 3 EPs. It's a
Oh,
3-part EPs going through the different portions of a relationship. So the first one is like the yearning, like
mm,
I need
urine.
you kind of vibe. That's like the first one, and the second one is like the happenings of the relationship, and it's like actually seeing it come to fruition. Like you kind of
Hmm.
you didn't really like you wanted it, but you didn't know that it would happen, and then it happens,
Yeah.
and you kind of fall into it. That's the second one, and the third one is the crumbling of the relationship, and you slowly see the beginning to end
Mm.
of this relationship within this 3-part EP series. And When It Rains, It Pours is on the last one. So,
I love a good weather song. I've
oh,
tried to
it's my
write
baby.
rain songs.
Yeah.
So it goes from yearn to crumble.
Oh yeah. And
That's what you're
it's
calling it, right?
it's
Just kidding.
um no, I think I can reveal this because this is set in stone. The first EP is called Love Notes. Um
Cute.
and that's really fun. I'm not gonna say the first name of the single because I'm not doing all that. But it I planned on dropping it um I planned on dropping it earlier this year, but then I ended up having to move. So I'm still in the recording process right now, but everything will start to trickle out soon. We're just waiting for me to not have a chaotic life and to have time. and then it'll be
Well, you have a
recorded.
very busy schedule coming up,
do.
I heard.
I
So,
do. I do. You don't know, but Moth knows, and
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lot. I'm a busy
I
little
feel
bee.
like I get a lot of work done when I am like procrastinating. Like
Hmm.
a lot of songs will happen when I'm like not trying or like when I should be doing something else or like I think being busy is like I don't know. It just
Oh,
things happen, you know?
no, I totally get it. I've written almost I have half these like half songs that I've written at work. Like I think I was working
Wow.
on one today. I was like covering someone's break and I was like finishing up a verse that I had started like months ago. Like it just
I mean,
randomly.
if you can have the song in your head after hearing all of that retail like music playing in the background, then that means it's a good song.
Yeah, honestly, some of the retail music is helped. I found like one of my favorite artists through the
Oh,
songs that they
really?
play at my store. Yeah, because we don't get like the normal retail music, which is so fun. They send us this heavily curated CD every now and again, and they're like, here's songs for the store. And then it has these different messages like, your spring deals are here. And it's like, okay, cool. But I found like one of my favorite musicians. She's like a soul jazz musician named Celeste. And
Cool.
I think I that's funny. I just posted a cover of one of her songs today on my Twitter
Oh,
because they blocked it. I had it on TikTok and then they muted it and they were like, sorry, you can't post the song. And I was like, thank you. It's like,
what? A cover?
thanks. Yeah, it was my cover. And then they were like, actually, you can't just post the song. And I was like,
Wow.
wait. I was so excited. But
Wow.
yeah,
That's
it's like
flattering. I wonder if you could
I was
like
so excited.
that just made me think of like trying to Shazam like a live show. Would that work? Would
Ooh.
it work?
Maybe. What if it came up with the live version of the song? If that's
Mm-mm.
available, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing. So I found some of my favorite musicians, some of my favorite songs through the random. I think they played Noah. I don't know how to say his last name. Kahan. Ka,
Mm-hmm.
they played Part of Me by
Kahan.
him.
Kahan.
I say Khan, but I say it like two syllables, so people don't think I'm saying Khan. I say Khan. I don't know how to
Nice.
pronounce it, but
Nice.
they play like three of his songs all the time. And I'll just be like, this is depressing. I'm gonna cry. But this is fun because I'm at work. Um, they play, oh yeah, there's this one song called Part of Me. Oh my gosh, why do they play that? Like,
I haven't heard that one, but
oh, it's adorable. I love that song, but it's also depressing. It's so sad. And it's
well,
like
that's why you're shopping.
exactly. They honestly, I don't know who curates the music for my store because it's all over the place. A lot of it's like just like I don't know. Some of the songs are like out there. Like there's just one song where the lady literally is just like, "You love it when I call your name, daddy." And I'm just like, "What?
Ooh.
There are people shop for kids' clothes here. What are you doing?" But yeah, it's wild. I don't know where they get their music from, but it's either really sad or like shouldn't play at a store.
I love it.
Fun combo. Okay, and then I think my last question for this portion of it's gonna be if absolutely nothing else is taken away from your music, what message do you want the people who listen to your music to take away from it? What's that one theme message that people should be taking away from your music or you want
Oh.
people to take away from it?
Now, this is a hard one to answer because I don't want to say any of the cliches that I'm
Mm.
thinking in my head. But I think overall, I think I want people to listen to my music to know that, like, no matter what they've been through, they can get through it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's so cheesy. But, like, I talk a lot about all of the really like difficult and dramatic things I've experienced. And I think to just know that they can like keep going. And that's really hard to really grasp. And I don't want to say all the platitudes that everyone like says because it's hard to even like make them feel real.
Yeah,
um but yeah, I want them to feel like when they're listening to me, they're listening to a friend, I guess. Yeah.
I love that. That's actually really great. Okay, now we're gonna go into the grandson portion of it.
Yes.
How did you find grandson's music?
You know, I was trying to rack my brain because I don't know, but I think it was like 2018.
2018
And
games.
I was friends with one of his producers, Chester Krupa.
Ah, yes.
Um,
Shoutout Krupa.
Canadian. And yeah, it's just like it's I would say Grandson is definitely some of his songs are in my Boss Bitch playlist of just like
Real.
energetic, like he has so much energy and like I love listening to just that's like my hype music for like when I play.
Real.
Yeah.
Real.
Um yeah, but I can't remember, but I probably a Spotify playlist. Yeah, what
That
about
makes
you?
sense. Oh, they've heard this story a billion times, but to shorten the long story, because I think I had my own episode where I was the guest for the anniversary because we did a whole election where we had an election and then someone else was the host and I was the
Oh,
guest.
what?
So I got to tell the entire story in detail. But long story short, um, my partner at the time that I found him, or right before I found him, introduced me to his music like 6 months before through his cover of War by Bob Marley. And I forgot, like I completely forgot that I listened to it. Like I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I just set it aside and I was like, I like this. And then like months later, he did the collaboration for running from my Shoutout with Mike Shinoda, and as someone who's been a Linkin Park fan for God knows how since I was like in fifth
Mm.
grade, I was like, I love Mike Shinoda. I don't know who this is, and um, it was the day that the music video dropped. Mike Shinoda did a live stream, and he did like the split screen with Jordan, and Jordan was there, and he was so bubbly, and he was so excited to be there, and they were talking about Bloodwater, because that's the song that like Mike found him through, and he was like, yeah, and he was pretty much talking about his inspiration for Bloodwater and how we need to hold these politicians accountable for the things that they're
Yeah.
doing. And I was like, oh, he's spitting. Like this is something I can get behind. They have a collaboration, let me listen to it. So I went to the music video, and anybody who knows Running for My Shadow knows that his part doesn't come until the bridge. So we're like two verses in at this point, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's a producer and he just produced a song. I like it, it's cool. And then his part comes in, and the rest is history. I have a podcast now. I have
That's
a tattoo.
amazing.
Yeah, five years later,
Shout out
almost
Mike
5 years.
Shinoda.
Shout out Mike Shinoda. We do that every single time. It
You know,
happens
it's
so often.
funny. I do have his number, so I'll send a little tech. No, I'm kidding, but I do have his number. We did a session.
Oh,
But
that's cool.
yeah, it was amazing. I mean, he really does like support so many like smaller artists and
Oh,
like
that's
is
so dope.
constantly just he lives like the dream. Like he just like collabs with people that he wants to work with, and
Yeah,
so him bringing on Grandson is
that
I
was
love
huge.
that. I love that that was the way in.
That was my way in. Yeah, and I haven't gotten out. Haha, this is not a cry for help. No, but it's been great for this whole time. And
Yeah.
I always call that like the best birthday gift I've ever had because I found him 2 days after my birthday. 2 days after my birthday that year.
Oh,
2 days after my 16th birthday, I found grandson.
whoa, whoa,
Hmm.
that's wild.
Yeah, yeah. He got me through the rest of high school and the beginning of college and work life. Yeah, it's been a blast. So
Who else were you listening to when you were 16?
oh my gosh, that's a great. I was listening. This is really funny. My favorite band at the time was 21 Pilots, which the
Yes,
the 21 Pilots to Grandson of Pipeline is real. It's
that,
it's
yeah.
extremely real. At that time, there's another artist that I've been listening to for I think since 2017 that I was really big into in 2018. His name's Yayan. He makes like pop music. Now he's leaning into hyperpop, which is like really cool.
Mm,
But I've been listening to him since 2017, and I was really big in
wow.
rotate. I had him on rotation. Um, and that was the year I went to my first concert, which was Palais Royale. I had Palais Royale in
Ooh,
constant rotation. My first
nice.
my first concert ever was Palais Royale.
Their shows are loud.
They're insane. I went to so many. They were my most like the artists I'd seen the most at shows until I went to a couple Grandson shows last year, and Granson's like
Wow,
maybe one or two shows above them.
that's awesome.
But yeah, that those were the people I had mainly in rotation, like Mike Shinoda, quite obviously.
Hmm.
2018, yeah, that was. I've always listened to a lot of different music, so I was probably listening to like a little bit of everything. I still do. Like today, I was working and I listen to some music sometimes when I need to focus on something. And I think my playlist, I've been really in the Sleep Token recently, so it went from like
Yes.
Sleep Token to like Knock Loose. I love Knock Loose. Ever since I broke my belt in their pit when I saw them open for Bring Me the Horizon
Ooh.
and Grandson opened, it was that whole lineup. That was my first time seeing Knock Loose, and I was like, I'm gonna make this band my entire personality now. So
They're
that's what I
pretty
did.
heavy.
Oh, I love them. They're my babies. I
Yeah.
always refer to them as my babies because if I don't, they'll scare me. So those are my babies. Those grown men are my babies. Um, yeah,
That's
there's
awesome.
them, and then yeah, no, it went from like Knocked Loose to Sleep Token to Bo Burnham to Ice Spice, and then
Ooh.
to Friday Pilots Club because that those are my babies too.
Oh, have we talked
Yeah,
about?
I know the
Yeah.
connection. I know that.
Yes. Yeah, Drew produced a lot of Nocturnal and he was playing bass for me at
I
that
know.
show and
That's
now he's so busy with his own band. Um, but no, they're amazing
I love
and
them.
yeah, Friday Pilots Club, so
Those
good.
are those are my boys. I
Even
I went
though
to
they stole my bass player
they
away,
stole your
but it's
bass
okay.
player.
Like I don't have a bass player now, but he records live bass and then we just play his recording. So he is still there
Yeah,
in spirit.
he is. He
And
is.
he's kind of like helping me with my live shows. So I'll find any way to have him around. But
I love
can't find
that.
another bass player because he's too good.
I literally only have two tattoos. The only grandson and Friday Pilots Club. Those are my only
Whoa.
tattoos.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but what was I gonna say? What's really really funny is when I was, because I had first found you through your Bring Me the Horizon cover, and I was like, I like this, and I
Oh.
do this thing where I put pauses on artists, where I'm like, I like this. This will go here, and then when I'm ready to take it off the shelf, I'm gonna take it off the shelf. And I was going through TikTok and I heard your TikTok for The Reckoning. I think this came out like late June of
Yeah.
last year. And I was like, that's Drew's production. I can hear his production style. And I
Whoa.
was like, is that Drew?
Yeah.
And then I like completely stopped what I was doing and I was like, I need to listen to this song. And I listened to like the snippet over and over and over again. And then I think Daisy mentioned something that was like, wouldn't this like guitar line go really, really cool with the riff from We Did It by Grandson? And I was like, yes.
Ooh.
And then I made it and I like put them
Ooh.
together. And then Daisy was like, this is so cool. And I was like, I didn't really do that well, but it does really sound cool. So yeah, there's a full circle moment
I want to
there.
hear that.
Combines everything. It's around here somewhere. I'll find it. Or Daisy probably still has it. But yeah, it's that was really fun. So
So
his
you like the
record
heavier stuff.
I do, but I like everything. Like I quite literally the other day my Spotify DJ was like, all right, and now it's time for some pirate music. And
Okay, I want the Spotify DJ. Is this a real thing?
do you not have the DJ?
I haven't used it, but I thought it was like fake TikToks
No,
people are making.
I use my DJ all the time.
Ah,
Every day I try to just see what he's gonna give me. And he was like, all right, today I'm gonna give you some pirate music. And first he started off with Bury Me Face Down by Grandson, and I was like, okay, that's a little weird. But then it gave me actual like sea shanties, and I was like, this
yeah.
slaps. I
I saw one that was like it was like the Spotify DJ. It's like this music is for guys who wear eyeliner and cry a lot, and it was like fake to promote like someone's song. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea, but I didn't
that
know
is
it was
great.
real.
No, the Spotify DJ is very real, and he's very random. There was like there was one time where he was like, all right, so today we're gonna give you a vibe, and the vibe is rage. And then it played like one of the most calm songs I've ever. No, it played the lo-fi version of Mistakes Like Fractures by Knocked Loose. And I was like, why would you play the lo-fi version? Did you not?
Wow.
There were so many. You played Knock Loose,
They
and
have a lo-fi version?
they have a lo-fi version of
Wow.
Mistakes Like Fractures, and it is so beautiful. And what's funny is this is gonna sound crazy, but that's the only Knock Loose song I can't go to sleep to. It's the only
Wow.
one I can't fall asleep to. I use Knock Loose to fall asleep on planes. Same thing
No
with Sleep
way.
Token. Yeah, I listen to Sleep Token and Knock Loose to fall asleep on
So
planes.
did you hear the new Sleep Token single? Because it's very
Of
divisive in my household.
course I did. Do you wish that you loved me? Oh my god. That's actually we're gonna be that later, but that's one of the recommended songs by the grandkids, which is really
Oh,
funny.
really?
Yeah, it's, somebody recommended it. So my personal opinion on it, is it my least favorite of the singles? Yes. But I still like it. Like it's so different from everything else, and I think
I,
that's why I like it.
after like the third or fourth listen, I do really like it.
Hmm.
To me, oh my God, this is so controversial. I just feels like there's a sound that wasn't exported. Like a
Ooh.
heavier guitar, just like a distortion, just something to like
Hmm.
darken it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it
It's
doesn't have to have a
it's
breakdown, but like it's just missing one thing that doesn't
yeah.
make it just a pop song.
Yeah.
But I love pop music, so I'm never gonna shy away from that. But I go to
Real.
them to, be angry but also sexy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I was explaining to like my friends. I was like, because I got super big into Sleep Token like all at once. Like I heard the summoning, and then the next thing I know, 2 weeks later, Sleep Token was like my 10th most listened to artist of all time.
wow, 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 wow.
They're number 4 now, and I found them in January. They're my fourth listened to artist of all time.
That's amazing.
But there was
Yeah,
a
I'm
point
excited.
where I was like, the music it's sad. Like a lot of it's very sad. But sometimes they get a little bit angry and sometimes they get a little bit sexy, and you just gotta go with the flow.
I'm sure once you hear the whole album, it'll make sense. It's probably like a breath of like fresh air.
Probably.
That's what I think.
Probably. Especially that being the single that came after War was so funny. Because War was so
Yeah.
heavy. And then we get to do you wish you love me? He's like, do you wish that you loved me?
Yeah.
And then War is like, let's get swallowed whole. It's like, what?
I think no, yeah, I think that's cool. It's like they're definitely trying to set up the precedent that they're gonna do whatever they want. And
Yeah.
like I more power to anyone who
I'm
does that,
I'm
yeah,
obsessed with it. Those are like those that's my band. It was like
for sure.
hell getting tickets for them
Oh yeah.
because all the venues are so small. They're playing
Really?
super small venues. Yeah. They're playing in LA, they're playing the El Rey. And
Oh wow.
I was like, they're playing the El Rey. I was like, I'm never getting tickets for, and I didn't get tickets for that. I got tickets for the Anaheim show. And that was just by the grace of God that
I
I
think
was gonna get them.
unannounced, but I have a festival I'm playing where I am on the same stage as them. So
Wow.
I'm scared.
That sounds
I
fun.
think Young Lean is also playing that stage.
Oh, I
Um,
think I know who that is.
but then I'm like, yeah, probably 3 or 4 acts before. But I'm hoping
Wow.
that'll probably be my first time to see them. I'm excited.
That's gonna be sick. That's gonna be sick. Um, wow. Okay, I can talk about Sleep Token literally
Yeah.
all day. I guess my next question, and I guess this will be the last one in this section, will be because we already talked about Sub T. What's your favorite grandson song?
Oof. This is gonna be hard for me. I love the new single. I love Something to Hide.
Mm-hmm.
I love the
Okay.
production. Let me
Oh yeah,
see
it's
how
so
many
good.
grandson songs I have favorited on here, just out of curiosity.
Ooh, fun.
I have Is This What You Wanted? Dark
Oh,
Side, Put Me
real,
Under,
real.
Overdose,
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts and Prayers,
Mm-hmm.
Blood in the Water,
Yep.
classic. Ooh. And I think I'm just remembering. I did get connected. I had grandson like in my like playlist, but then I think his song Dirty, when it was on the radio,
Mm-hmm.
someone had reached out to me. They were looking for a feature, but then that didn't. They were like trying to throw my name in the ring or something.
Oh,
And so it came
wow.
up again. Yeah. Whoa. So I think that's when he probably came back on my radar in like 20. But yeah, he's just the best.
Wow, I love that. That's a great list. The list of songs that you gave are insane. I was like, those are my
What's your
favorite.
favorite? What's your favorite?
My favorite, this is the most fun question. My favorite song is a song that he technically has unreleased. It's not released under Grandson.
Ooh.
It's Things Change. It was on his SoundCloud, and I guess he never took it off. And someone uploaded it to YouTube, and I found it like 2 or 3 months after I first started listening to him, and it's quite literally my favorite Grandson song to this day. And like this again, I found him in 2018, and it's been my favorite Grandson song through an album and like multiple EP releases. It's my
Yeah,
favorite Grandson song. I have a tattoo planned based off of it. To
that's
where
amazing.
what's fun is I realize that when you write things, it looks like the perspectives are different. So I want it on my wrist, and I want
Mm.
things change. But if you point it out, it'll say things change. But if I look at it, it'll say change things, and it'll remind you to constantly keep things going.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is sick.
Yep. And I was gonna get it for my birthday, but now I'm booked, so we'll figure that out. But
Mm.
a friend of mine, Bethany, that I shouted out on the podcast earlier, got it written out for me by the man
Oh yeah, I
himself.
was gonna ask. Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
handwritten.
Yep. So I'm just gonna get it on me.
Yeah, I think of those songs, Is This What You Wanted and Dark Side are the ones I've probably listened to the most, although Dark Side just makes me so sad.
Is this what you wanted? Me and my friends have a petition where we're trying to get him to play it only on my birthday. Because
Yes.
we were like, we're not gonna get him to play Things Change. It's not gonna happen. But Is This What You Wanted is like
Come on.
it's a missed song on the set list amongst the grandkids.
Yeah.
So if we could get enough heat behind it, one of my friends has been tweeting at Grandson almost every day, play Is This What You Wanted on Nyla's birthday, May 22nd in Tampa, and like over and over and over.
That's amazing.
So there's a petition out. But if I had to choose a song that was like actually released and like out for my favorite Grandson song, everyone thinks it's World War III, and you're incorrect. I love World War III, but it's Overdose. Overdose is my baby.
Mm,
Overdose has always
mm.
been my baby, but it's about to be Murderer, because Murderer's on the new album, and I heard the snippet because he played it in a live because he can't help but leak music, and
Love it.
it's been in my head. I'll just randomly say lyrics from it, just like casually about my day, and it's not even out. So that's about to fight for the top spot. Things change, better hold on for dear
Yeah.
life, because Murder is so good.
Yeah, what's
But
your favorite single of the new album so far?
Eulogy.
There's three. Yeah, Eulogy.
Eulogy is my favorite. Eulogy, I personally emotionally connected to, because when he dropped that song, it not only was the first one for the like album, and it was like super exciting. When he dropped it, it was like he retold the last year of my life in a song.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this was so deeply personal for him. But sometimes the more personal you write, the more other people can relate to it.
Yeah.
And he happened to like just hit me, and I was like, whoa. And I think, yeah. And then I like think the night it came out, I immediately started writing, and I wrote my own verse for it, and I posted it, because I was like, I can't keep this in my head. Like
Yes.
this is my baby. So Eulogy is my baby. I also wrote one for Drones. I love Drones. I love all of them.
I
They're all my
love the
babies.
cover.
It's so cool.
It's
It's
super sick.
it's so cool. He really
I'm
and
curious if he was actually in the forest or if that's all Photoshop.
I'm pretty knowing what I do know, it feels like on brand that he would be out in the field somewhere.
Wearing
If
like a
that
green
makes sense.
screen coat or something.
Sounds about right. Like I wouldn't put it past him at all. I was
Yeah.
gonna say. But yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. That makes sense. But this
What
whole
do you
thing,
feel
I'm
about artists that every single is just the album cover versus saving the album cover? Because I'm trying to decide on my album.
okay. Sorry, you're
And
good.
I'm trying to decide if I want to have every single have artwork for it. But then or you just give them the album cover and bam, then you just every song is that. I don't know.
I personally like seeing the personality of each song in the cover art.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I just have
Yeah.
always loved that because I feel like every song has its individual personality, and to let that
Yeah.
shine through is really, really cool. Um, and
It's
like once you
hard to make a cover that encapsulates every song, you know?
Yeah, so that's why I understand when people just go the album cover route because they're like, this is the whole thing. Like, this is the thing that you're getting. But I do like when it's like a this song specifically is like this.
Yeah.
This is what this song is like, and this is what this song sounds like, or this is the visual I want you to have when you listen to this song.
That's awesome.
I always love things like that. Okay, and then I think the last question that's just gonna be in this interview section is what are the top three songs on your on repeat? We're gonna expose you real quick. What have you been
Okay, so
repeating?
I'll be honest, I don't listen to a lot of things on repeat because I'm like an obsessive playlister where I have like a
For
queue
real.
playlist with like hours of music, and I love finding new songs.
Ooh, fun.
Okay. Okay, this is a good one. Whew.
Okay.
We have this is surprising. First is Leeches by Melanie Martinez.
Okay. New
I
album,
don't
new album
It's
from
not my
Portals.
favorite from the album, but I
Okay.
think I just kept playing it over and over again because I didn't pick like I listened to it so many times without I don't know how that one got up there. Granite by Sleep Token
My baby. I love this.
and The One by Taylor Swift.
That is a collection of songs. That is a collection of songs.
Yeah, there's a lot more Melanie and like NF on here.
Oh, NF, that new album is so good.
And then
There's
like I have some Still Woozy, which is like my wholesome like comfort music because it's just
real.
so like warm and bright and like that's when I need comfort.
I get
Um
you. But yeah, awesome.
Taylor Swift, Sleep Token, Melanie Martinez.
That's
Yeah.
the list. That's so fun. That's fun. That's honestly what mine looks like. It's just a
Yeah,
mess.
now you have
There's
to expose
everyone on there.
yours.
Oh, okay. This is fun. I don't know I always check it when it updates because I get really excited when it updates because I'm like, ooh, what have I been listening to a lot? Last thing I listened to was my DJ. Oh, top three is so fun. Top number one is Easter Sunday by Don Broco.
Mm,
I got into Don Broco like last month, sometime like mid last month, and Easter Sunday, I played it on Easter Sunday and I got some really bad
nice.
news. I actually got bad news that day.
Oh.
And the bad news came to fruition like 2 days later, and I looped the song because that was the memory that I had tied to the song. And I just looped
Ooh.
it over and over and over in it because I got the news on Easter and I was listening to that song on Easter, and then I got the news and then I just looped it. And I just that's been my like go-to like comfort song for the last little while.
Okay, you're not saying you got bad news and because of the song.
No. Oh
Okay, good.
heavens no. It just happened to I was listening to Easter
Okay.
Sunday because I was like, haha, it's Easter Sunday, Don Broco. And it's like it was my favorite song on the album, essentially. It was like one of my favorites. No, because Bruce Willis is on there. So it was one of my favorite songs on there. I think someone else recommended Bruce Willis. I was like, oh, you're so cool. But Easter Sunday was like it's the ending track. It's so like this like bombastic. It's got this like thing going. It's got like religious imagery. It's so beautiful. Um, and then the second song is a song called All White Foreign by a rapper named Cal Scrooby. I saw Cal
Okay.
Scrooby earlier this month. I saw him, I went to LA to go see him. I only knew his music for like 2 months and I was like, I'm gonna do it. Why not? Or no, it was about two and a half months. And I was like, I'm gonna go do it. And it was so fun. And I've been listening. There's a lot of him. There's like 8 songs by him and 7 songs by Sleep Token on here.
Whoa.
And then the third song is Forever's Enough by Broken Love. Which
Cool.
those are my boys. Because I've been looping that album again. I went back to that album because this album's so good. Because I've
Do you
been
know how many
reminiscing.
times like you've listened to your top song like last year? Like did it give you like you listened to this song 400 times or whatever?
Um, for my top song last year, it probably did. Let me go take a peek ski. Because I'm trying to think of what my I think my top no, I don't think so. Because my top song was a song called Tamagotchi by Omar Apollo. Um,
Nice.
and it's still on my on repeat. It's number 5 on my on repeat to this day.
Whoa.
It's I love it because it's like it's partially in English, it's partially in Spanish, and the beat was
Ooh.
produced by Pharrell. And it's this absolutely
Ooh.
infectious beat. I don't even realize that it's looping until it's looping. And then I'm like, I've been listening to it for an hour and I'm like, oh, I should turn this off.
I'll
So
add that to my playlist. My
oh yeah, it's
Q
great.
playlist.
Oh, it's great. I love Tamagotchi. And then number 4 is Aqua Regia. So Sleep Token.
Oh yeah.
I got so Don Broco, Cal Scrooby, Broken Love, Sleep Token, Omar Apollo.
Nice.
And then from there, some other notable names. Dead Poet Society's in here. I have Heaven, Iowa from the new Fall Out Boy album because I'm in love with that song. We're
Mm.
getting married on the morrow. I got Worms by Ash Nico, Counting Worms by Knock. There's a lot of worm imagery. Um, and then the normal drones, eulogy, stuff like that. So,
This is such a surprising. I've never looked at my on repeat before.
oh, I look at it every time it updates because it updates every few days. Or if you've been looping a song a
Interesting.
lot, then it updates like almost immediately. That's how I know if I have to put my foot on the like foot on the brake pedal and be like, whoa, 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 slow down. You've been doing this a lot. Like I like I said, I've been like I've been listening to the Broken Love Black Box album a lot because I've been thinking about a show that I went to where they opened for Dead Poet Society, and I've been listening to that Dead Poet Society album a lot because I've started to realize that that's one of my favorite albums of all time. So they're
Mm.
kind of go hand in hand with for me. I don't even know how to name the album. It's just the like exclamation point. It might be called the exclamation album. I don't know, but that Dead Poet Society album is one of my favorite albums of all time. I think I have a list. I think it's number 3 in my top 5.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You have
Um.
top albums
Yeah, I have my top 5.
and top songs. Is that one too, or
I
just
don't. I
albums?
have top songs, but they change so often. Like I have my favorite song
Mm.
of all time, and then the rest of them just kind of shift depending on what I'm listening to. But my top albums have stayed pretty consistent. It's very hard to move into it. So when I figured out that this Dead Poet Society album was one of my favorite albums of all time, it was huge. It was
Yeah,
whoa, like stop the presses, like this is happening. Um, but number 1, if I don't know if you're curious, but
I am.
my favorite album of all time is an album called Topograph by an artist named Thompson. It's
Hmm.
also my comfort album. Um, it's it's if you're like it's the best breakup album ever, but I just use it for comfort. Like it's just such a good.
Interesting.
It's got this beautiful imagery. My favorite song on there is Headspace. I
Oh,
love Headspace.
Wafia's on
Wafia is on there. That's
here.
how I found
Oh,
Wafia.
wow.
I found Wafia before I found Grandson.
Wait, I've definitely heard this song. I think. I don't know.
It's a great
I
song.
I was a Wafia fan. I mean, I am a Wafia fan,
Yeah.
but heard her album or EP that came out in like 2016, kind of EDM, like just
Yeah.
so sick.
Oh, it's so good. It's so that's what it was so funny because when I got to meet Wafi in person for the first time, I was like, Jordan was passing out like signed CDs around LA, and I got one and she was in the car, and I was freaked out about her. And he was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was like, this is Waf," and I said, "I know, I've been listening to her before I listened to you." And he got so excited, and he knocked on the window. He said, "Waf, Waf, she's been listening to you before she listened to me," and then her face just lit up, and I was like, "This is the
Oh,
coolest day."
you got to check out her song "The Raid."
That's
Yeah,
one of my
you love.
favorites. That's
Yes.
quite literally one of my favorites. The Raid, Heartbird is a classic, and then there's one on there that's in a language that I do not speak. And I'm not gonna try to pronounce it, but it's like your demon at the bar, your demon at the. It's so good. It's so good. It's so groovy. I love that entire EP. I looped it all the time, and I used to loop her cover of "Let Me Love You" by Mario. Pretty sure that's the song. I used to loop it all
Ooh.
the time. So that's why it was huge. When I found out they were dating, I was like, how do y'all know? How did y'all even meet? Like this is
Yeah.
so and then I that was the same day where this is also like grandkid lore where he drove me to work and and he was like, "So how did you even start listening to both of us?" And I was like, "Your guess is as good as mine." Like it's just a thing that ended up happening.
Yeah.
I just like music and I ended up listening to both of you, so this is so cool.
I think it probably works because music is different. Like one of my
Yeah.
favorite musician couples is Ashniko and Arlo Parks. I don't know if you've
They're together?
Yeah, for like a while.
My brain did not know. I just don't think I ever like decided to look into, like
Yeah.
usually I stay out of it. It's not my
I
business.
think Ashniko made a little like couples post on Valentine's Day or something. But it's just the just polar opposite
Oh
music.
yeah.
But
Oh
I think that's
yeah.
probably why it works, you know?
Yeah, they play Black Dog at my job all the time.
Mm.
So I did to think that a combination I would have never get. Wow.
Yeah.
You learn something new. But yeah, if you ever want to listen to like a semi extremely sad album, um Topograph is the way to go. It's so good. Just as a
I want to
project.
find more favorite albums because I think, yeah, like when you are 16 to, well, just high school age is when you
Mhm.
really just lock in your favorite albums. And it's like
Oh,
hard to move
that's so
on.
real. I think that's essentially what my list. My I found Topograph when I was in high school. I found the Black
Mm.
Parade's number two. I found the Black
Oof.
Parade when I was in high school. Exclamation is new. I found Cardboard Castles by Watsky when I was like 12. So, and then The Human Condition by John Bellion. I found that in high
Ooh.
school.
That's a good one.
Yeah, those are my top. And I have there's a list, but those are my babies. Those are like if anyone was like, "Hey, how do you describe your personality or your like favorite things in like 5 albums?" I just list those because those are the ones.
Yeah. We got to bring back mixtapes. I feel like you need to start handing them out.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think I playlists are the new mixtape though. I have a playlist called Nyla Core, and it's just every song that I think
Ooh.
defines me as a person.
You
And then
have
I
to send
also
that.
Oh
You have
yeah,
to
I can
send that to
definitely do
me.
that. It's very sad. I'm sorry. I made it when I was sad, and then there's some songs that are just like sprinkles of like fun. But I can
Yeah.
definitely send that. But
Oh, I have
yeah,
I have a playlist called depression music. That's all my
real.
cry songs.
Oh, real. Well, my other like I have a bunch of them. I love creating really like fun playlists. And one of my depression playlists is "You Step on Your Cat's Tail and They'll Never Know How Sorry You Truly Are." And
What?
it's so sad. It's such a sad
Oh my
playlist,
God.
but it's so fun. Um,
That's
but yeah,
heartbreaking.
it's a heartbreaking playlist. Um, yeah, I love creating quirky little playlists. And then when I find an artist that I really, really like and I like get into their music a lot, I create an artist playlist, but it never has the artist name. It quite literally has to be different. So for Sleep Token, the
Mm,
playlist is Slumber Coin.
that is adorable.
A
Oh, I
Slumber
love that.
Coin. And then
Slumber coin.
yep. And then the grandson playlist is the only grands.
Love it.
Yeah, I love doing that. I think the most recent one I made was for
Are
Don
you that
Broco.
slumber coin band? That's what I'm
That's
gonna
Slumber
say if I
Coin.
get to meet the no, I'm kidding.
Yes. Yes. My friends have this joke because we all like Sleep Token, where we're like, oh yeah, every single time the lead singer talks, he doesn't talk, he sings, and he only sings to the tune of Alkaline. And it's so funny because there's this joke where it's like he's at Starbucks and like, I would like a frappuccino.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like he's not, but it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
funny to think that he's like trying to keep it up so much that he's like, yeah, I'm just not gonna speak normally ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of the interview. I wanted to end it off on a little on that note. So now we're gonna go into the game. You ready for the
Mm.
game?
Yes.
So, the game, this is a bit of a remix of a game I've already done on the podcast, and it was called Google Granslate. Essentially, I took some grandson lyrics, I threw them in the Google Translate, and I threw them into a bunch of languages, and then I put them back out, and then I read the lyrics, and then they had to guess what song it was from. But
Oh.
I was like, how do I make this MOTHPOD? So it's your songs.
Ooh.
I've chosen, and I did this on purpose to where I chose my 5 of my favorite songs from you. So This is gonna be
Okay.
fun.
Okay. I'm ready.
Are you ready? There's 5 of them,
How am I?
and
I
we're
can't
just
even
gonna go
remember
through
my
them.
own lyrics. Like,
This
how
is
am I
gonna be fun
gonna?
then. You don't have to guess a specific lyric, you just gotta
Okay.
guess what song it's from.
Okay.
This
Okay.
first one's pretty simple. We're just gonna get into it. So the first one, and I always do a dramatic reading of this, so excuse me. Because the waves are big, here is the list.
I want to say like crash
Okay.
or like that's a song I think I say something about an ocean, but I have no idea.
Okay. Okay. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it's not
Incorrect.
that.
Do you want to try to take another stab at it, or you want me to just tell you?
You just tell me.
It's from The Reckoning. Uh,
What?
Cause she's a tidal wave. Here comes the reckoning.
Oh, funny.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Oh, wow. So the reckoning became the list. A list.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really
Okay.
fun to see how things change. All right, number 2. Do you believe and are you wrong? Are you a good player?
I have no idea.
Okay. Do you want me to just tell you, or you want to try? You want to
Oh,
try taking a stab at
believe. I don't even know what I say that in.
it?
I'll just throw out a random song out of it. It's not that one, but
It's not out of it.
yeah.
This is from Oh God. And
Okay.
the line that I translated was, "Did I play the fool? Did I make you believe I was having a good time?"
Oh, wow. See, this is hard. Don't Google Translate my lyrics in other
It's
languages. I don't know what they will say.
it's difficult. Yeah, when it comes back, it's like, what is going on? All right, number 3. A bright blue signal running through his veins, drinking heightens all emotions.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, that could be a lot of songs. All right. Oh, that's a cool lyric. Um, I want to say like Blue Hour because I say blue, but
Okay. It is
blackout,
not Blue Hour.
hungover,
No.
sober, interlude. I'm thinking of ones I say drinking and
Nope.
vices.
Nope.
Um, I don't know then.
This is gonna be really funny. Are
Wow.
you ready?
Yeah.
Absinthe. They
Wow.
translated, it's funny, they changed blue to from green to blue. I don't know why that happened, but it's coursing through my veins
Uh,
and envy's green, so bright, intoxicating, all my senses amplified.
uh,
Heightens all emotions, all my senses amplified.
dang.
Yep. All right. No,
Okay,
it's
okay.
okay. We
Okay,
still have 2
zero
more.
for 0 for 3. Yeah,
We still have
okay.
2 more. We're good. We're in this. Number 4. What have I done that doesn't change? You cry.
What have I done? I mean, I know I say that in Oh God, but you said you already used that.
I already did, oh God. And I didn't do any duplicates. I can't say that.
I cry. What about tears?
Mm-mm.
Uh, REM?
Nope.
Lullaby?
No.
Bedtime stories?
Nope. Are you just going through Nocturnal? just, you're just going.
I haven't pulled up. Um,
You might have to go outside of
I
Nocturnal
cry.
because only a
I
couple of these
cry.
are from Nocturnal. I only chose 2 Nocturnal songs.
Emotions?
Mm-mm. This one's the hardest one to me, so I understand.
Forever 15.
Mm-mm.
Buzzkill.
Mm-mm.
Everything at once.
Nope.
Now.
Mm-mm.
Spiral.
Nope.
Okay, well, I've just listed my entire discography. So what is
There's
it?
more. Cheap Tricks.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's translated
Deep
from
cut.
if I do the same thing, only different, does that
Oh.
make me insane?
Oh.
Oh yeah, Cheap
What?
Tricks is my baby. Oh my gosh. Deep Cut, yeah, that's my baby.
Oh,
I love that song.
that's funny.
I was looping it kind of leading up to this, and I was like, just because it's such a different vibe.
Yeah.
Um,
My band liked playing that one, and then I think I only played it once or twice.
real. Okay, this is the last shot for you to get one, but if you
Okay.
don't, it's okay. These were hard.
Yeah.
Google Granslate is known for being difficult, so I understand. Number 5. I think this one's pretty. I think I think you can get this one. I actually believe in you for this one. Okay. I hope you understand why I'm scared. Don't lie if you can.
I'm gonna guess scared.
No.
Oh, can you say it again?
Okay, no problem. I hope you understand why I'm scared. Don't lie if you can.
Everything at once?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Okay, you have to just tell me.
Okay, how about what if I said this is one of the more popular ones? Or
Sensitive?
very well known. Mm-mm.
Buzzkill vices?
Buzzkill.
Interesting.
It's translated from the line because I'm pissed off and I think you'd know why, and you're scared now because receipts don't lie.
Oh. Okay, what's the most anyone's ever gotten right?
I think I've only done this once before, and I think the grandson ones are a little bit easier. I think they got like 1 or 2 though out of the 5. It wasn't anything significant. It was still like, what is this?
That's impressive.
But yeah. And all right, that's the game. So
This is like my nightmare. It's like every time I dream and I forget my lyrics. And now I'm just gonna have dreams that I'm Google translating my lyrics.
you should do that before a show. Just Google Translate the whole song, put it through
Yeah. For
different
me,
languages, and then go out.
it's funny because my songs are like it's like the alphabet to me. Like I can't jump in the middle. I have to sing it
Mm,
all the way through. Maybe the chorus I could sing alone, but like and so it's like if I get lost on stage, I'm like, oh, it's just like muscle memory in my brain as the
real.
alphabet or something.
Okay, well, now we're to the point of the podcast where I kind of pass it on to you so you can go into your deep dive topic. If you don't know what a deep dive topic is, it's essentially where I give the guest the spotlight, I let them talk about a topic that they're passionate about, let them bring a topic that they want to discuss, anything like that. So, Mothica, the floor is yours. What do you want to talk about today? What are you bringing to what do you want to discuss today?
Oh, well, after such a lovely time of games and fun, icebreakers, it's funny because I decided to talk about depression. So I don't know how to
It's
get.
like that. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's fun and games and then it's depression. So I get it.
So deep dive topic. I mean, I didn't like,
You don't
I'm
have to
trying to
have
figure out how I'm going to talk
yeah, you
about
don't have to
this.
have bullet points prepared or anything. You can just speak on it. If you want to speak about
Yeah.
your experience, if you want to speak about just whatever you feel comfortable with talking about here. Um just go ahead. It's
Cool.
pretty much just something that you are able to speak on. That's essentially what the deep dive topic is.
I think, okay, I'll just talk briefly. So I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and when I was like 13 or 14. And I usually say that during my show and I have little jokes and stuff about it. But and like when you're in high school, you don't really know what depression is or what that means. But for me, it like showed up in that like just yeah, I did like nothing brought me joy. Like you couldn't surprise me with a birthday gift. I wouldn't react. And like I think my parents just they didn't understand. And a lot of like when I was in high school, like 2009, it was just different.
Mm-hmm.
And people would just say those things like, oh, well, imagine if you, had things worse or you know, stuff like that. And they just don't understand that, like, no, like I could literally be in a castle right now and my brain will still tell me that everything is bad. And why is it like that? So I think like getting like a diagnosis is really important, but I never wanted to say I had depression or like that I have it, because I didn't want to, like, I don't know, I didn't want that to be a label I carried, because I thought maybe it would just kind of like disappear if I drank enough. That doesn't work. So I think understanding any type of diagnoses. I also have anxiety, especially got worse post 2020 with like travel anxiety. So like your fear of cars is my fear of planes.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it actually stemmed from like when things were getting better. I like got really hyper aware of not wanting to die. So I guess this is kind of what my new album's about. But I'm like, oh, I've wanted my whole life, I wanted to die. And now I'm afraid of being in an airplane. Like this is somehow a win. Like
no, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I definitely talk about depression on stage and stuff a little bit, but I think I always play it off as a joke, but I think it is a really, I mean, it's serious. Like everyone, you know, in the music industry and artists, fans, listeners, like like suicide is just, it's everywhere. And I think my fear of not wanting anyone to know about like depression or whatever, because I just was afraid of that word, I think that kept me from telling anyone when I was seriously like self-harming and stuff like that. And like my parents didn't even know about anything I was going through until literally I was in the hospital. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, so I finally was like on my like little like, you know, hooked up, and I was like, yeah, mom, I've been like sneaking out and drinking and doing drugs and I hate myself. Like that shouldn't be the time you tell someone. Like,
yeah,
hopefully you can. And I think that like humor is it's a good way to cope with it, but also there is always a truth to it, and like to recognize that in other people. Like I really notice when people say like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself, just really casually.
Yeah.
Because I don't say that. And I'm always like, are you okay? Should we talk? And to like check on your friends. And I saw some article about don't be afraid to ask someone if they're struggling or if they're like suicidal, because it won't like provoke them. I think a lot of people just they want to talk about it, but they don't want to ask themselves. And like how that can actually have the opposite effect is if you check up on someone. But yeah, really lovely topic, super fun. And
but I mean it's a really important conversation to have, because you honestly you never know. And that goes for your friends, like the artists that we listen to. You quite literally never know.
And when I was like, it's funny because this song has kind of become my like mantra now, but when I was like probably 18, I wrote a song called Sometimes I Write Songs Instead of Killing Myself. And and then I was like, oh, that's kind of like how I live. Like that's why I write, and that's why I can write and put all of that energy and just really like, you know, just really soaking in that sweet sadness in a song, and then it's there and it's contained, and then I'm like, oh, I made something with it. And I think that's important to like put your energy into something like that. Like at least I just made a song that day, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I think that's how a lot of my music started, especially my older songs. Because I had a similar experience, except my diagnosis came in the form of they're like, hey, so you have ADHD, but the ADHD is what's causing your anxiety and depression. They were like, triple whammy, you got all three, you got them all. And I was like, okay. But I was like 15.
Oh,
So I didn't really understand it, but I did know that when I made songs, it made me more comfortable.
yeah.
And I I'll never forget. There's this one song that I made. It's called L'appel du vide. And essentially, L'appel du vide is this phenomenon. Like the actual thing is a phenomenon where it's when you're on like a really like high building or you're like leaning over
Yes.
something and you look over it and you're like, it could happen,
Yeah.
you know? And I wrote a song based off of that. How again, I was like 15. And at the time I was like,
Wow.
I wanted to sound like I was like, I wanted to sound like Linkin Park and 21 Pilots. And I was like, I
I
like
need to hear it.
handcrafted it. Oh, it's so old and it's like it's so bad, but I love it so much. It's such a it's and one of my favorite stories I love telling about the song is I've gotten to perform at a couple places in LA. I'm not flexing, but this is a song that I got to
Oh.
play at a really, really cool LA venue. Um, I got to play it where I'm going to see Grandson this year, actually. I got to play at
What?
the Wiltern.
Wait,
Um,
what?
yeah, I got to play this song at the Wiltern
How?
when I was like, ooh, how old was I? 2018, so I was 16.
Mm.
And essentially, my high school didn't have like normal like marching band. We had an actual band. um we had a program that let us form a band, and
Cool.
it's still a thing. It's called In the Band. It was originally called Sound Art, and they changed it to In the Band. And it's this program where it has like it goes to like inner city schools and they just form bands and they let people play music across LA. So I got to play like the hi-hat before it shut down. Got to play well,
Yes.
I got to play the Roxy, but that was for something else. And that was actually the where I saw my first show ever and where I saw Grandson for the first time at a venue.
Wow.
But I got to play the Wiltern with my band. My band was called Untitled Document. Um, that was
Nice.
I love that was the best thing I ever came up with because we were trying to figure out a name and we had the name Those Band Kids for a while and it was awful. And that was also my creation. Then I was like, what if we were just called Untitled Document? Everybody was like, yeah. So we were Untitled Document and we got to play that song, that super depressing song. And I'm like, my family's in the audience, like my grandma's there, and I'm like singing about like this darkness inside of me. And there are people like dancing. And it was the
That's funny.
weirdest thing ever. There are people just like doing, I don't remember what this is, but they were doing that and they were
Okay.
dancing. And I was just like, I'm like the lyrics are literally somebody save me because the Appel du Vide directly translates to Call of the Void. So the
Yeah.
lyrics in the song are somebody save me from the call of the void. And people are like busting down like dancing. And I'm like, I'm okay with this. This is fun. And it's always a fun story. I like looking
That's when
back
you
on.
realize that most people listen to the melodies.
Yes. And it was cool. But yeah, that was it's a fun story. But
That's awesome.
it was always an outlet for me for
It's
like
funny
all
you
of
say
my
that because I have a Void song on my new
ooh.
album and I am seeing the Void everywhere. I mean, Spirit Box just released the Void,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing Nowhere, Void Eternal, and then Melanie Martinez. So I'm like, dang, we
Yeah.
are all just in this
A lot of
vortex
voids.
of
A lot of
empty
voids.
space.
Yep.
um, so it's funny you brought that up again. The
But
void is
yeah,
calling to
that's
me.
void the void just it be calling. Some
Yeah.
don't pick up.
Don't pick up.
Don't pick up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I completely understand having a creative outlet always really helps
Yeah.
because that's what helped me at the time. And now I still whenever I feel like super, super negative, my brain's like, oh, this would make a really good song right now. And I'm like, not right now, but also yes, right now. And then I write it out. I'm fine.
That's awesome.
So um yeah, so I completely understand where you're coming from. And I'm really glad that you were able to bring this topic from
Oh,
your perspective.
also, Yeah, I think you mentioned like shouting out a charity, and one came to mind that actually I think I heard from a grandkid at
Oh,
one of my festivals. Is called Hope for the Day.
okay.
And they started out in like music venues in Chicago, actually, I think, and promoting, like, I basically was like gifted a wristband, and it's just like so cool that they're out there like promoting it in at shows, at
Hmm.
concerts, and it's really like a lot of awareness, some like learning resources on there. But yeah, I just love that it was from a grandkid at a
Yeah.
festival.
Heck yeah. Definitely if this sounds like a conversation that you needed to hear, if this sounds if hope for the day or hope for a day, or
Hope for the
it's
day.
hope for the day, if that sounds like something that you may want to check out, definitely I'll have links as in as many places as I possibly can. Um, and yeah, just know that grandkids always got your back. Mothlings always have your back. I always have your back. And
And I
yeah,
have your butt. I don't know. Sorry.
yeah.
I've been here for a while.
Haha. We're covering all the bases.
That was awful.
I mean, hey, you know, sometimes you gotta cover all the
Ooh,
bases.
I'm getting too comfortable. Okay.
But yeah, and I think that's a great note to end this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now we're in the home stretch. This is always what I call the home stretch because this is just the submission portion. And we only have two types of submissions today. We have the
Okay.
hug fairy and we have the song recommendations. So for the hug fairy for today, if you don't know what the hug fairy is, essentially what the hug fairy is I stole this from a Twitter account, and it's essentially just to bring love to the grandkids. People can anonymously send other grandkids that they want to shout out, give a hug,
Aww.
and we're just gonna give some hugs. So our hugs for the day are for Joe at Bath Time Joe, and this isn't the first time you've gotten a hug, so hug it out, hug it out. Second is Sam at Samman__Taylor. Sam,
Yes.
what's good? Hugs for you,
Hi, Sam.
hugging it out.
I'm
And
hugging you.
yes, and the last hug is for Kim at the Kim turn. Uh, hugs for you, hugs for everyone, even if you weren't shouted out. Everyone gets a hug. You get a hug. You get a hug. I am not Oprah. Um, and then the very, very last section of the podcast is our song rec section. But what
Ooh.
I want to do, right, because I still don't believe that the grandkids understand your music enough. So I want you to recommend one of your songs that you would want the grandkids to go listen to. And then I'll recommend the song that I think the grandkids should go listen to.
Ooh.
So if you could choose any one of your songs and
Okay,
just send
I'm
them to
going
go on.
to skew it towards a grandson-esque energy.
Okay.
And I would probably say on the deluxe album Night
Ooh.
Shift.
Night Shift.
It's kind of trappy, very
Yeah.
like in your face energy. And so Night Shift as an intro.
Yeah. I think that's a
And
good one.
then I mean obviously you can listen to the top songs, but then maybe something like, yeah, Casualty.
Casualty's great.
Energy.
Yes. And
Okay.
then what I'll do is I already talked about The Reckoning enough. That's how I got back into your music. That's my baby. I literally heard part of Drew's production from a mile away.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I quite literally, and then I listened to the album and I was like, it's there or it's
Yeah.
there. So, but besides The Reckoning, I'm gonna recommend Last Cigarette. It's Last Cigarette, right? Or am I
Yeah.
stupid? Okay, cool. I was like, I know the songs. Why am I questioning myself? Um, that's gonna be my recommendation for the grandkids. That was the other song that I had on loop after I first listened to the album. It was The
That's a
Reckoning,
fun one.
The Reckoning, Absinthe, and Last Cigarette were just looped.
Oof.
Were just like
I love
brain.
Absinthe too.
Absinthe is my baby, but I'm gonna go with Last Cigarette. I'm trying to go for something I didn't already mention. And
Cool.
now we're gonna get into the grandkid recommendations. So these are song recommendations that you, the grandkids, were hitting us with. And a couple of them I already
Ooh.
mentioned, so this is cool. Number one is "Do You Wish That You Love Me" by Sleep Token, aka DYWTYLM. And every time I mention the Sleep Token song on here, everyone thinks, Nyla, you just put that in yourself. No, I didn't. I don't have to. Like I didn't do. I love Sleep Token. Everybody knows I love Sleep Token. Like they're all I could talk about for a little while. But "Do You Wish That You Love Me" is different from other Sleep Token songs, right? So if you're going in, you think this is gonna be how Sleep Token always sounds. They don't. Um, all of their singles so far sound very different, and this new one is even more different.
We're giving
But
range.
it's truly, just all of the range. It's very poppy, but in like a good way. It's something you don't expect to hear from them, but it also makes perfect sense that you're hearing it from them, if that makes any sense. Their content is still very Sleep Token. It's just, it's great. It has this one line where it's like, where you're something along the lines of you're trying to make everything a lesson to learn, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Mm.
Yeah, so um I say go check it out. But that's my stamp of approval. Second song is a song I mentioned earlier as well. Is Bruce Willis by Don Broco. Um, I'm a new Don Broco fan. Bruce Willis was one of the first songs that I did the thing with Don Broco where I listen to a song and I put them on a shelf and I wait. Um,
Yeah.
so they just got taken off the shelf. And Bruce Willis was one of the songs that was like, it's great. It reminds me, I'm a nerd, so I try to make character playlists for all the characters I like, and it reminds me of the main character of my favorite book series. It's really,
Wow.
it's really fun. Whenever it comes on, I'm like, his name is Darrow. It's from the Red Rising series. I'm like, Darrow would love this song. Like, he
That's
probably would.
adorable. Um, I just love that.
Yeah, I do it every single time. But Bruce Willis is really fun. It starts off like, huh? And then it comes in and you're like, oh. And then the hook will be in your head all day, and you'll just be like, yippee ki yay, motherfucker. And then you'll do a little laugh, and it's fun. It's great. So I highly recommend it. And the last song is by an artist name, I'm gonna probably butcher this, but Kaaria. Um, and it's their song Cha Cha Cha, or his song Cha Cha Cha. And it's a song from Finland for this year's Eurovision. So
Oh,
I haven't dove into Eurovision yet for this year. I'm really excited to. I've just been too busy. But I usually try to keep tabs on it. And I haven't gotten to listen to this one yet. So I'm really excited, and you should
that's
check it
fun.
out and tell me what you think about it. So we're all gonna check this out. We're all gonna collectively get into Eurovision and talk about it. That's the goal for this year. But
I have never kept up with Eurovision,
oh,
but
it's
I
fun.
just watched the um spoof movie
Ah,
song, whatever.
I never
And
watched the movie.
so now I wanna get into it. I
Oh,
have a friend
it's
that's like trying to get into the Greek song.
ooh,
So
ooh.
I just love anything that has fun outfits.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They a lot of artists go all out for it. I
Yeah.
caught up with last year the most because I got into it in like 2019 because I had a roommate when I went to the Berkeley College of Music summer thing, and they were super into Eurovision, and they were like, "We gotta get you into Eurovision." They showed me so many songs, and I was like, "This is amazing," and I've been slowly but surely keeping tabs ever since. Um, I know the
That's
UK like
awesome.
almost won last year,
Did you
but
see the one that they tried to do that kind of for like America? It was like American Song Contest.
yeah, and it was weird.
Yeah, it was weird, but the production was cool. Like those stages, like there was some like
They tried
sick
it.
sets,
They did. They
but
honestly,
yeah,
yeah, but it's not on the level of Eurovision.
yeah,
I don't know. Eurovision's had a long time to do it. They tried
yeah.
though, so
I feel
kudos.
like yeah, like it's harder to represent the culture of a state versus
Yeah,
like a country. Like
yeah, Yeah, because it's like what I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot more difficult because like America has like, this uniform culture that's kind of over it, and then every state has like the things that they're doing, but it's not really like you can't really do it in a song. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there's not I don't know. But yeah, that's the podcast. We did it.
Oh, yay, we did it.
We did it. We did it by grandson. 3 exclamation points. No, but we did it. We finished the podcast. I would like to take this time to thank Daisy for even suggesting
Yes.
that you come on. Shouts out Daisy. Thank you for
I
this.
was gonna shout them out. They always are sending me cool music recommendations, so you need to hit them up. They're
Oh
the
yeah.
plug on
Oh
new
yeah.
artists.
They got me in the Pink Shift, even
Hmm.
though I haven't had the time to get into Pink Shift because I've been so preoccupied with Knock Loose and Sleep Token. But
I think they
um,
showed me Pink Shift, and then I hired the designer who does their artwork to do one of my t-shirts.
wow,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
so
But
fun.
yeah, shouts out Daisy. Thank you. And if you want to support Daisy, then Daisy has a shop where they make the coolest jewelry ever. You may have seen their jewelry featured on many an artist. Um,
I
so,
have some.
mm-hmm,
Grandson has some, and
mm-hmm.
he wears it a lot.
Yeah, so if you want a piece of that jewelry, go on the website, friend of Daisy's, have some links around. Okay. This episode is officially sponsored by Daisy's Jewelry Shop. I'm not getting paid, but I'm still sponsoring.
But you get
But
a necklace.
yeah. And all the stuff's really, really cool. So go check that out. And thank you for being on. I just really want to say this is really cool. This is really
Yeah,
fun.
this is super fun.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do some more research on the tea soup debates. I
yes.
mean, I don't know if you're, you know, but yeah, this has been super fun. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate that you were able to come on at all. I know you got a schedule, so I'm glad we were able to work through both of our schedules to be
Yeah,
able to do
well,
this.
it's 9 p.m., so it's morning for me, and I'll just be up till 4 or something.
Real, real. I mean, that's how it is,
Awesome.
nocturnal.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and that's about it. Thank you for listening or watching or however you're consuming this. And this part always pains me to say, so you're gonna see me in actual physical pain. Um, I hope you have a grantastic day. And we're just gonna end it.